Do you know there was a war so brutal, so horrifying, and so emotionally scarring, that for decades, people simply refused to talk about it? A war that changed nations, collapsed empires, and rewrote the map of the world. Yet somehow, it slowly faded from everyday conversations. This is the story of that war, World War I. Imagine Europe in 1914, a single gunshot in Sarajevo. One event sets off a chain reaction that drags almost the entire world into conflict. Millions of young men, barely adults, marched to the front lines thinking they'd return home as heroes. Instead, they stepped into a nightmare humanity had never seen before. The trenches, long, narrow scars carved into the earth, filled with mud, rats, disease, and the constant smell of death. Soldiers lived weeks without sleep, standing in cold water, staring at the dark horizon, knowing an attack could come at any second. It wasn't glory. It wasn't adventure. It was survival. They invented new forms of hell here. Machine guns tearing through thousands in minutes, artillery shells that erased entire units, chemical gas drifting silently, burning lungs and melting skin. Men didn't just die, they disappeared, and the world realized the truth. This wasn't a heroic war. This was a slaughterhouse. But here's something most people don't know. After the war ended, survivors didn't want to remember it. Governments didn't want to talk about it. Families avoided the subject. The trauma was so deep, so unbearable that silence became the only escape. While World War II had clear villains and heroes, World War I didn't. It was confusion. It was politics. It was pride. It was chaos. That's why it slowly slipped out of mainstream discussion. Not because it wasn't important, but because it was too painful and too complicated. But behind that silence lies the real story. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire, the fall of the German, Russian, and Austro-Hungarian empires, the birth of modern borders in the Middle East, new nations in Europe, the spark that eventually ignited World War II. The world you live in today, your passport, your map, your geopolitics, all shaped by a war no one likes to talk about. And there's one more truth. World War I didn't just change countries. It changed people. It broke the idea that war is glorious. It showed the world what industrial killing truly looks like. It made humanity question everything: leadership, nationalism, even morality itself. So the next time someone asks, why does no one talk about World War I? The answer is simple. Because the scars are still there. Because the pain still echoes. Because the world would rather forget the war that nearly destroyed everything, while pretending it learned its lesson. But history only dies when we ignore it. And sometimes, the quietest stories are the ones we need to hear the most.